All right, so I told you how Sweeny, wants to come on the show more often, and I want to have him more often, as does Tiki. I've always loved Sweeny. I've known him for a while. Does great work, WFAN Yankee reporter. But he also told me quite clearly in a text exchange after our last conversation on the air 3 weeks ago, dude, don't just bring me on when things aren't good. Well, I mean, if this is the case, I'll see you in spring training. I might not have you on the rest of the year, Sweeny. So,
dude, last week they went 5 in a row. My phone's crickets, right? Like, hello, is this thing on? They lose 3 in a row. Hey, can you come on today? Man, you're just so predictable.
Oh, wow. Well, all right, listen, I feel like we still need
I'm right, because if your best comeback is wow.
Well, no, I'm processing it. I'm processing. It was a good comeback. I'll give it to you, man. I think that there is still an intervention that's necessary here. Here's the problem, man. I am not, despite what you just kind of, tried to put out there, I'm not a fatalist. I'm not. But I am a realist. And this is the first time, and I'm not predicting it, but I'm just saying, this is the first time a collapse of the division does not seem off the table to me.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, how could you argue that based on what you're watching, right? You're looking for signs, and frankly, there's no good way for them to lose, right? You lose, it's not like, okay, well, this, every loss highlights a flaw, and this time of year, the flaws are what are going to scare you. So yeah, there's no logical reason for me to talk you down right now or say that you're wrong. They have to play better, and until they play better, you're not going to look at it and say, oh yeah, they're fine. It's all right, well, which one of you guys is going to hit today? That's been the big problem. When they weren't this bad in July, but when they did struggle in July, it was the pitching that was an issue. The pitching has straightened itself out. I don't think any of us really saw the offense going this cold. They've gone from first or second in the league to, bottom third in the league in the last month. They simply don't get guys on, and they don't drive them in. I mean, and I don't know how you get around that.
Well, they haven't. And that's what I'm worried about here. I think that's what most Yankee fans are worried about. I mean, Rizzo's back's been an issue, so he has an excuse there to an extent. LeMahieu, the hip a year ago, the big toe now, but he looks absolutely shot. And let's face it, Donaldson's just gotten old, and he doesn't play every night anyway, but he's gotten old. So when I look for the internal solutions, I mean, man, if you strip away Aaron Judge, this team is not good.
LeMahieu and Rizzo are were two of your stalwarts, and at the beginning of the year, those are the guys that help deep in the lineup, make the lineup go. Now Stanton coming back, he just came back last week. That's a part of it too. But LeMahieu and Rizzo were so key, and since they came back, LeMahieu doesn't have an extra base hit since he came back from the foot issue. How much is bothering him? Don't know. It seems like he can't drive the ball. Everything's a ground ball right now. And I know you don't. I know there are a lot of people who don't like to look at this scope, but if you judge off of how hard he hits the ball, lowest exit velocity of his entire career so far this year, average.
Oh yeah,
of his entire career. Okay?
What's it about 80? 87, 88?
Less than 89.
Well, that's gross.
He is hitting the ball on the ground,
and
not that hard.
No.
Okay, and he had a good stretch too, which is the crazy part. But because before he got hurt, you would see him, driving the ball a little bit. He was leading the league. I think like a month ago, he's leading the league in on base percentage. Right? They traded for Benintendi. Like LeMahieu's got the highest on base. Benintendi's got one of the 2 or 3 highest batting averages. Like, okay, this can work. LeMahieu has backtracked in August, and I don't know. They said this is something that he can play through. It's not something that's going to get worse, right? So they fitted him for this orthotic and see. And it was about, Boone talked about, can he get his swing off? So far, it doesn't look like he can get his swing off, and that's the thing that's troubling. Where are you now? So now where are you going? You could move. Cabrera looks pretty good. Right?
I like him.
What you see from him.
I like him.
Great, but he's also batting 8th or 9th most nights, and you're not really relying on him. So as he gets into this a little bit more, not saying he's not going to be good, but there's going to be a little more pressure. People will work him a little bit differently. But if you move him in, now you're still relying on Rizzo and Torres and Donaldson. If LeMahieu is not part of this, all 3 of those other guys are trying. You need them to pull your weight, and you can't move any of them around.
Yeah,
it's really hard right now.
No, well, it is hard. And we're talking to Sweeny Murti, WFAN Yankee reporter here on the Fan. Tiki and Tierney. It's hard because there's so many guys who are at very interesting points of their career. Like if I were to say to you, all right, Sweeny, I'll actually let you answer the question. How many Yankees right now are firmly entrenched in their prime?
In their prime. Okay, now, are we calling that what their age is or how good they are? Because Gleyber Torres is in his prime. And right now, he's not that good.
Yeah, that's a fair retort. However you want to frame it. Take it however you will.
Well, listen, I mean, obvious answer is Judge, right?
Who else? Benintendi.
Benintendi is still there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's probably it.
Rizzo's probably on the other side of that.
Yes.
We saw him play really well for the first half of the season.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the back, the fact that he missed all those days with the back and came back, and last night was only the second home run he's hit since coming back over the course of the last, almost 3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
That's troubling, because that's about, listen, BT, you and I, grew up, watching Mattingly, right? The back was about torque, and I'm not saying Rizzo's heading down that road. I'm just saying, you're talking about getting the torque in your swing to generate power.
Oh yeah.
And for the last 3 weeks, Rizzo has not done that.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. No, it's a problem. Sween, what was the first year you started covering the Yanks?
2001.
Okay, 2001. So the Diamondback series, you've been there this entire century, and you've seen it all. So I am beginning to feel, and Coney said this on the air the other night, and I feel it. I've been at a few games since. I feel it. I hear it. I don't think the fans really like this team. Now, before you attack that, I do think it's a little misguided in the sense that a lot of the negative energy, it's sometimes misdirected. Like there's a lot of heat, to use a wrestling term, a lot of heat for Hal, given the finances, even though they do spend, but you know what I mean. Yeah. There's heat for Cashman. There's heat for Boone. Like there's heat for all these guys up top, and it kind of it's the venom is spit out toward the players, but it sounds different than than I've heard in 25 years, man.
Yeah, not likable is a good way to put it, I think, just because, you're, especially the way they played in the first half, you're expecting more, you're expecting better, and I'm not saying you should have expected 115 or 120 wins, but this is not what you should not expect these prolonged losing streaks, and just this complete 180 that they've turned in the last month. I hear what you're saying because, as I said before, there's no good way for them to lose. It's not like because put it this way, the Yankees play a game every day. Do you ever sit there, forgetting about how they're playing right now? Okay, I was just saying when you line the two teams up, whoever they are, do you ever look at a matchup or a day and say, yeah, you know what? I think they're going to lose today, or they're probably going to lose today.
No.
I don't mean how they're playing right now. You know what I'm saying?
They're not
I hear you. Supposed to lose ever. Yeah. So when they do lose, it's maddening, it's frustrating, and there are flaws here.
Yeah, but hold on now, Sween. Let me challenge you on that. I don't, and there are obviously as a Knicks fan, of course, they're not going to games expecting to lose, but no, I don't feel that way with the Yankees. But that doesn't. I think it's not even confidence. It's like a stabilization of the mind because the Yankees have conditioned us to be so good and so competitive for so long. Yep. So just because we don't expect the Yankees to lose doesn't mean that our instincts are right because it's often guided by what's transpired years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and listen, you're not wrong. This team looks terrible for the last month, so why would you have a lot of confidence in them watching it right now?
No, there's nothing
until they
there.
turn it around. You're not going to.
Yeah.
And like I said, the problem was in July that it was pitching, and you had to think about addressing bullpen and starting rotation and all that, and that a lot of that's flopped. But overall, the pitching is stabilized. Okay, what you did at the deadline hasn't paid off, but that hasn't been the problem. It's the guys that were here in the first half that aren't producing now that has been the problem.
So we're talking to Sweeny Murti, WFAN Yankee reporter, here on the Fan. I want to hit you with one more. I don't have a ton of time, but I want to end on a positive, all right? See, I see what I'm saying?
I can't tell you. Where are you going with that one?
Yeah,
wow.
I'm adaptable
is
here,
there
man.
one?
Yes, there is.
Good,
I'm going to throw it by you.
Go.
So I was talking about Mattingly. You just mentioned Mattingly's back, but the great 85 season, even 86, where Clemens won the MVP, Donnie should have. But I'm going to go back to 85, almost 50 doubles, 145 ribbies, bats 324, leads the league in total bases, gold glove, blah, blah, blah. So we weren't around for Garrick or Mantle, any of those guys. And putting A-Rod aside because of the juice, okay?
Yep.
Is this the single greatest and that includes Prime Mattingly, which is a big thing, the single greatest Yankee season offensively by any player in our lifetime?
Wow, great question. You're right. You have to take A-Rod out of the equation for those obvious reasons. I need to see how this finishes. Like, I need to see Judge get to 61 to tell me that this is the best one. Okay? I mean, you mentioned Mattingly is 50 doubles, right? I mean,
53 doubles one year.
Yeah. So, I mean, that, hit. The year before he had 340. What, he had 320 something that year?
324. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it's probably right there, but I need to see a strong finish. Okay, this can't be I can't have him finish with 52 home runs.
Understood.
And say it's the best one, because a lot of what's going to happen here is, because of who he is and what this team is, the expectations about it, like how he finishes and how he leads this team, is gonna be wrapped around this story too. So it's phenomenal to watch, and I think it's going to be amazing to see somebody challenge what is still the American League home run record and the Yankees home run record with Roger Maris.
Yep.
I think it's meaningful, and because of everything we have known and felt about the PED era, I think somebody reaching 61 right now would still have a lot of meaning and a lot of, pardon the pun, juice to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's something that's exciting to watch. But as Judge himself said last night, he's brushing it all aside. It was incredibly frustrating to hear him having to answer questions about reaching 50 home runs when they just lost another game, and it's kind of reeling right now. And you could tell he wanted no part of talking about it, even if because the losing is bothering him more.
Mm-hmm. Here's the deal, man. When the Yankees win 2 games in a row, I'm not going to even stretch it to 3 because I might not talk to you until next spring training at this point. Yankees win 2 straight, we get you back on the show, okay?
How about, listen, if they're leading after the 4th inning, can I text you? Will that work?
Yeah, we're going to have to start really going a little more micro if that's the case. Hopefully that's not the case, but I will talk to you soon. I hopefully we get a couple wins coming up soon. Thank you, Sweeny.
See you, BT.
You got it, brother. There he is, the man, Sweeny Murti.